So my name is Isaac Horwedel, or newly Dr. Isaac Horwedel. I just got my PhD this past spring from Emory University, and I'm here at Luther as a visiting assistant professor of ethics and also a Louisville postdoctoral fellow. So I was sort of placed at Luther through this fellowship with the Louisville Institute. So yeah, I'm here for at least 2 years as a visiting assistant professor. The jury's out because I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet, so I can't really give an answer, but I'm probably seeing it this weekend. So come back around when I've seen both of them, and I will let you know. My thoughts on Barbie. It worked best as a comedy for me. I think the political messaging, which I mostly agreed with, could have been deeper than it was, but I thought it was funny and fun, and I enjoyed it for the most part. I was inspired to go to seminary by a lot of the questions I had, and the scope of those questions I thought seminary allowed for the best. So I had philosophical questions, I had psychological questions, I had theological questions, I had sort of community life questions, and seminary, I think, is where all of those are fair game. Like everything you read, everything you talk about, you're always you can work across those disciplines, and there's a real intentional focus to how you're working through those questions that you might not get in another academic setting where you're talking about similar topics, but in a different way. I think it's, on the one hand, don't take yourself too seriously, or any one thing that happens, sort of let things wash over you a little bit, because there's a lot of deep questioning. It feels like so much is at stake with everything you read, every lecture you hear, every discussion you have. It's like foundational questions about your identity and your beliefs and what your vocation. So on the one hand, give yourself some grace to, you're gonna change and you're gonna be confused. So don't take yourself so seriously of I've got to figure this out on day one, or something I thought I believed, I'm not sure I believe, and now everything's tumbling down. So give yourself grace, don't take yourself too seriously. But on the other hand, allow yourself to take yourself seriously. The questions you're asking are important. Your vocation is distinct and interesting and worth pursuing. So I guess living in the tension of those two things, I would just affirm that and advise yes, it makes sense to feel those things. Let yourself feel them, and it's this is a worthy pursuit regardless of where it's going to end up. Yes, so I'm very new to Luther, and so I have an open, please email me, contact me in whatever way is best for you, invite me for coffee, a Zoom call. Would love to just talk with anybody about anything. My intention is to be on and around campus as much as possible too, so if you're someone who's also on or around campus, always feel free to stop me and say hi, and we can set something up. So yeah, any way that's convenient for you to contact me, feel free to do that. This is a tough one because I'm reading a lot of books all the time. From an academic standpoint, there's a book called Mute Compulsion by Soren Mao about the sort of compulsions of living within capitalism that is very good. A little dense, but good. I started reading a novel called The Topeka School by Ben Lerner that I have only read a little bit of, but would recommend that as well, but I haven't finished it, so those are the two. So this is a very loaded question. It depends on the mood, it depends on the night, the vibes of the room. I, at times, if I've been, my voice is okay, good old-fashioned Loverboy by Queen can be a big hit. I also can go Foo Fighters, Hero or My Hero or Everlong. And then I love Bob Seger, Against the Wind. That's a long one, but a good one. So I gave you 3. So far, I've been here a little over a month. It's really easy to get around. I'm coming from Atlanta, so traffic is a breeze. It's very walkable compared to where I've lived, and it feels like a city that people, at least right now, this time of year, people generally seem like they're enjoying themselves while they're out and about. So yeah, it's easy to get around. People seem happy, where at least compared to some other places I've lived. So that's been enjoyable so far. Yeah, no. In winter, I'll take back everything. So I have 2 classes this fall. The easier one to pitch is, because it's a pretty select group of students that can take it, is I'm teaching the MA capstone writing course. So if you're an MA student, you may be required to take it. There's a little, certain students with the new curriculum are in different places. If you're an MA student and you're required to take it, I look forward to seeing you there, and I don't need to pitch it to you because it's required. If you're not required to, I would just say it is designed to be a space every week to talk about writing, to talk about the nuts and bolts of writing in a very practical way, but also how to write theologically in a way that is authentic to you, like how to use writing as a theological practice and a sort of academic practice. So excited for that. The ethics elective I'm teaching is called God and Economy, Faith and Consumerism in an Age of Capital. This is an older course that I did not invent, but was on the books, and I was like, I think that course sounds amazing, so I'm gonna volunteer to teach it. And it involves a lot of the research I've done in my dissertation. So in that course, I think we'll just be talking through what I think are some of the most pressing concerns in contemporary social life as it relates to capitalism, the economy, how our society does and does not value people based on economic value, and what that says about our faith and what we are called to do given that reality. So we'll be looking at scripture and sort of historical lenses and theological and ethical lenses to think through what is capitalism, what does it have to do with the church and the world and our theology today. And I think hopefully having some really great conversations. And it's really designed then assignment-wise to allow students to create a project that is vocationally distinct to them. So maybe that's a paper, but maybe that's a curriculum for an ecclesial setting, or maybe it's a sermon or a couple of sermons, or maybe you want to do a kind of creative project that engages the course materials in a way that's like going to be meaningful and useful for you. So I'm really excited for both those classes. So I do the productive things I do for fun. I like to make and record music that is sort of weird and experimental, that no one really ever hears but me, but it's fun. I like to read and write in more creative ways than my academic work sometimes allows. I like to do karaoke, and I like to get to know the Twin Cities with my wife and sometimes our 2 dogs. Unproductively, what I like to do for fun is watch YouTube a lot and go on down rabbit holes. I like to watch the Chicago White Sox play baseball, and I like to watch football and sports and things like that, but it's kind of mindless entertainment, but I do a lot of it. Fun fact about me, for 5 years in my life, I was living and working in a halfway house and working on a miniature horse and donkey farm simultaneously, and I don't think anyone else can say that. So that's a fun fact about me. I would say, short and sweet, if you're here, you belong here. Whatever it is you're bringing, whether it's things you think are worthwhile or things you think aren't worthwhile, they belong here in this space. While we're all here together, we will bring all of those things together and live into Christian community. So welcome here, and I look forward to meeting as many of you as I can.